Hello and welcome to the Rested podcast, where we explore travel time rather than destinations and the joys and surprises of shared transport. For many, travelling on buses, boats and trains is now a lifestyle choice. My name's Mark Selby. I love the theatre of travel, discovering the stories of journeys and learning how people use their travel time. Do you remember passing your driving test and then that first drive on your own? It's a vivid memory for many of us. Ian in Wokingham remembers passing as a 17-year-old in Wales. He took the test in the morning, then drove to work at a supermarket in the afternoon, no longer dependent on lifts or patchy bus services. Francis was driving his mum's Mini, took his eyes off the road for a moment and hit a stationary car. No injuries, just embarrassment. Penny was living in Hackney, East London, passed her test and went on an adventure. She drove across London to a busy Hyde Park corner. She says she was terrified, but once she'd started, she couldn't stop. That new independence was a wonderful change, however nervous we felt. So strange to be alone and free to go almost anywhere. Learning to drive and passing the test are important. It's the last training and testing most of us ever receive as motorists and road users. Skills that protect us and others. The proportion of 17 to 26-year-olds learning to drive has been falling for years, due mainly to the costs of lessons, owning and running a car. But people do keep trying. Last year, in Britain, over 93,000 driving tests taken were at least a candidate's sixth attempt to pass. The success rate for people taking at least their sixth test was 41.4%. Some don't see the need to learn because autonomous or self-driving cars are expected, and there won't be a need for drivers. Sadly, the claims of social, environmental and financial benefits they'll supposedly bring are just not credible. Cars driven by humans will remain an important mode of transport, though how they're owned and used will probably change. The roads will see more carless drivers rather than driverless cars. Why own a vehicle that's parked for 96.5% of its life? If a car is the best option, rent one when you need it, or use a taxi if it makes sense. One reason we need cars is the amount of luggage and stuff we carry in them. It's like the law of garden sheds. If you've got one, you'll fill it up. Cars carry all those just-in-case items, from clothing to tools, torches with dead batteries to out-of-date maps. By contrast, Rested listeners Liam and Jenny started a 6-month trek around New Zealand last week, and the combined weight of all their luggage is only just over 30 kilos. That includes their accommodation. Jenny is Swiss. If you visit Switzerland, please try their public transport. The timetables for trains, buses, trams and ferries are all synchronised. The services are punctual, good information is available, and travellers are polite. On the trains, most customer-facing staff seem to understand and speak 4 languages. I appreciate that it's very similar to the services you're probably used to in your country. Tickets will seem expensive, especially with the Swiss exchange rate, but discounted tickets are available online. Riding a train across Switzerland gives you a glimpse of transport perfection. The ride is smooth and quiet. The seats in the clean carriages are comfortable and the views outside are of spectacular mountains, lakes, wooden chalets with brightly coloured window boxes, cows in luscious pastures, their cowbells swinging as they eat. The trains glide through chocolate box scenes, quickly, quietly, and on time. Swiss cows wear bells to increase their milk yield. Those with the highest productivity wear the loudest bells. They're the ones that eat the most grass, and the bell rings as they eat. Other members of the herd might be resting on the ground, dreaming whatever cows dream of. They hear the high-yield cow's bell, and their appetite is triggered. They get up and start eating too. The yield of the herd benefits. The bells are also good for surveillance, for finding cows when they're on large alpine pastures and visibility is poor. Human commuters travelling to and from work each day often wear their version of the cowbell, their identity card attached to a lanyard. Unlike the cowbells, these are mainly for surveillance rather than encouraging productivity. Travelling through Switzerland, a visitor's sense of perfection probably results from the gulf between the transport and views we're used to in our countries and the Swiss experience. But living in Switzerland and taking these journeys regularly can make one almost numb to the beauty, efficiency, and apparent perfection. There's no gulf for comparison. It's just the norm. Looking out from a train in Britain as dusk and rain fell, I really wanted to see an alpine pasture with a herd of bell-wearing cows. Instead, I saw a line of dark, leafless trees along the embankment in the rain. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi is finding perfection in that which is imperfect. Wabi means simplicity, humility, and living in tune with nature, while sabi refers to what happens with the passage of time, transient beauty, and the authenticity of age. I looked at the window on the other side of the carriage. The rain ran diagonally in streams from the top corner of the window. Outside, dark clouds made the day seem later than it was. The train rounded a bend, and a ray of sun caught a stream of water. The stream became a brilliant band set against an ominous dark sky. It was beautiful, unexpected, and lasted for just a few moments. It was perfect. We're surrounded by transient beauty. We just need to look out for these unexpected sights of whatever duration amidst the gloom and imperfection. In English, a metaphor is a word or phrase used to describe something else, such as, the world is a stage. Metaphor comes from the Greek, metamorphou, to transform completely from the inside out. Today, Greeks use the word metaphora to denote transport and engagement in a transformative act. Trains, buses, and cars are metaphora. Now let's be honest. From the outside, train carriages or buses look dull. They're basically single or double-decker boxes on wheels. They don't change. But inside they do, as passengers board or leave the box on wheels. And the transformations can be dramatic. In June, I went to the English South Coast by rail. Changing trains at Basingstoke, the contrasting clothes and behaviour were remarkable. On one platform, heading to the horse races at Royal Ascot, was sartorial elegance. Men in top hats and morning coats, ladies in beautiful dresses, trouser suits and hats. Though their refined interactions would probably be quite different when they returned in the evening after the races and hospitality. Bohemian clothing and rucksacks were on the other platform, as fans headed to the Isle of Wight festival to see The Prodigy, Green Day, and other bands. I joined the busy Bohemian train. There was a buzz of anticipation in my carriage. But there were two distinct groups of passengers, festival goers and families with young teenagers and big suitcases. At Southampton, the train almost emptied. The families to join their cruise ships, the festival goers to take the ferry to the Isle of Wight. A new group of passengers boarded, and the carriage was becalmed as we headed towards the New Forest. It was probably the first time I appreciated the scale of transformation that occurs on Metaphora. Last night, I listened to two men talking on a bus. One had seen a former schoolmate they both knew. He'd recently been released from prison. I don't know how much of his 7-year sentence he'd served, but what I heard was an unexpected and interesting conversation that covered their upbringing, run-ins with authority, and their future aspirations. It reminded me of Matt from Abingdon's story of America. He was using the money he'd earned working at Camp America to explore the country on Greyhound buses. On one trip, the bus stopped outside a penitentiary where 5 newly released inmates were tasting freedom. Before boarding, a fight suddenly broke out between 2 of them. They were arguing over whether the bus should stop first at a McDonald's or a Burger King. Thankfully, it was resolved quickly and the journey proceeded. Every train or bus journey is different, and they change quickly. We can choose to be a participant, to observe, or ignore the theatre of travel around us. The choice remains ours. Thank you for listening and for sharing your stories. Please keep sending them to restedpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, enjoy your travels.
Thank you for listening to the Rested Podcast. Please subscribe on your preferred podcast service and share with a friend. I look forward to hearing from you and sharing your travel stories. Please email restedpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to everyone that has contributed to Rested so far. Enjoy your travel time.